Hey everybody, welcome to the Behaviorism video. Behaviorism is the last of the big T philosophies or theories of education we're going to be discussing. And honestly, you probably already know quite a bit about behaviorism. If any of you have taken psychology at any point in your life, whether in high school or in college, you probably covered behaviorism and operant conditioning. To jog your memories, do you remember learning about Pavlov's dogs, where Pavlov would ring the bell and the dogs would salivate? Or training a pigeon to peck a dot and then he'd get a food pellet? Or mice being trained to go through a maze? Okay. Behaviorism in the philosophy of education is pretty much the same thing. The biggest name in behaviorism, the biggest contributing thinker in educational behaviorism is B.F. Skinner, who wrote this book called Walden 2. You may have read it. I know I read it in high school and then had to read it again in college. It's a seminal book, and although it takes a little bit to get through, it's actually very interesting. I actually enjoyed this book quite a bit. But when talking about behaviorism in a school, behaviorism is pretty much the king as far as how schools operate. How you teach your own class and why you teach your class can be other things. But behaviorism is based on a couple of major ideas. The first big idea is that humans are just organisms like any other organism and will respond to stimuli. So to try to fill in some of your boxes, the metaphysics of behaviorism fits within the idea. It's kind of like realism in that you're dealing with the physical or behaviorism, the observable universe. Okay, the first big idea that you need to be aware of is that within behaviorism, human beings are organisms like any other organism. Okay, human being, like any organism, responds to stimuli. If I poke you, you're going to avoid being poked. Okay, if I give you positive reinforcements like, oh, you're so smart and beautiful, you'll respond well to that. And that, as a cornerstone of behaviorism, is how a classroom operates. The purpose or the role that a teacher fulfills in a behaviorist classroom is to control the environment. Okay, the purpose is to control the environment to elicit the desired response from your students. If this was a face-to-face class, by now we would have established some norms within our class, giving kind of disapproving nods to some comments, encouraging other comments. By giving positive and negative reinforcements, I could control the environment within the classroom. Okay? But in American public education, the entire system is structured that way because there's an implicit behaviorist agreement that says, if you study well, I will give you a good grade, and if you accumulate enough good grades, you'll have a high GPA, you'll graduate with honors, you'll go on and live a happy, successful, and prosperous life. If you don't work hard, if you engage in teacher displeasing behavior, you'll be punished and you're going to end up homeless and in the gutter. I mean, that tacit agreement undergirds all of American education. I know that many of you have been in classrooms where a teacher will put maybe a marble in a jar, and when you for every good deed, when you fill the jar up, you get a pizza party or something like that. That's behaviorist external motivation. Now, we already said the metaphysics is the external observable universe. Okay. How do you come to learn? What would the epistemology of behaviorism be? If we're thinking about the external observable universe, learning only counts if it's observable. So you come to learn through being stimulated and responding to various things within your environment. Within the classroom, teachers are trained often in writing behavioral objectives. This will probably be the very first thing you learn in your methods class. And you'll learn to write a behavioral objective that'll say, the student will be able to, and then boom, something that you can actually observe and measure. Okay, the student will be able to is now so common, it's actually abbreviated to SWBAT. SWBAT. The student will be able to, and you put in your behavioral objective after that. So it's through this interaction with the stimulus in the environment that people come to learn. Axiology, things that are valued within behaviorism. That's actually a tough one. Things that elicit positive responses are valued. I know that's kind of almost a cop-out answer, but that's the best I have for now. And honestly, I'm not going to ask you that. What's valued is what's observed and what results in a positive outcome. How you define positive is up for argument, however. I already mentioned that B.F. Skinner's the biggest name. There are multiple other people within the behaviorist field. If you want to be a special educator, and I know some of you do, behaviorism is the coin of the realm within special education. Elsewhere, on how you actually operate your classroom and what goals you're trying to achieve, behaviorism can be weaker or stronger. But in special ed, it's the biggie. Okay. Now, we need to problematize this. We need to think about what this actually means. If you do things that I value, I give you good reinforcements. If I observe you doing things I don't like, I punish you or give you negative reinforcements. There's got to be more to it than that. Okay? And critics say there is. Now follow the logic here. If I, as the teacher, control the environment, control the classroom, and you are but organisms in the classroom responding to stimuli that I control you. I'm kind of like the puppet master pulling your strings and making you dance. Although I'm saying dance, to be kind of funny, that's a serious philosophical issue. Many people attack behaviorism because of questions of basic human freedom, because they would argue that you can't be free within a behaviorist environment because someone else is kind of controlling the sticks and the carrots. I would argue that I could always just cross my arms and say, hell no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to participate, and kind of break out of that cycle. But that doesn't happen very often. And that's the major weakness when it comes to behaviorism. You can use behaviorist principles in your classroom, giving good, high and low grades, trying to stamp out off-topic talking, those kinds of things. But that doesn't necessarily make you a behaviorist unless controlling the environment is your goal. Okay, there's got to be more to it than that. So when you're writing your philosophy papers, unless controlling behavior and training for appropriate responses is your goal, I would not put too much stock in behaviorism as a guiding philosophy for you. Unless you're special ed, which unfortunately in a lot of cases, training behavior and reacting properly to stimuli actually is a goal for some special educators, then totally run with it. You'll be ahead of the game that way. That's all I got. Have a great day. Bye.